show success. A placement interview is your chance to choreograph your skills, talents, and aspirations into a harmonious performance that captivates the stage of opportunity. Good morning and a warm welcome to all the esteemed professors, diligent students, and esteemed guests gathered here today. As an Ali with my co-host,
Nakshatra Shrivastava.
are going to be your hosts of the day. We set the tone for an enlightening and inspiring occasion that lies ahead. Let us come together to ignite the flames of knowledge and discovery as we embark on this enriching journey.
लहरों से डरकर नौका पार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती। नन्ही चींटी जब भी दाना लेकर चलती है, चढ़ती दीवारों पर 100 बार फिसलती है। मन का विश्वास रगों में साहस बढ़ता है, चढ़कर गिरना गिरकर चढ़ना न करता है। आखिर उसकी मेहनत बेकार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती। Ladies and gentlemen, it is with a great pleasure that we welcome a true visionary in the fields of talent acquisition and career development, Mr. Vishal Chinchure. Welcome, sir. As a dynamic individual who wears multiple hats, from being an accomplished career coach and author to a talent acquisition leader driving global success at State Street, Mr. Cinchure's journey has been nothing short of inspiring. With his commitment of campaigning streamlined process, innovative strategies, and effective stakeholder management, he has carved a niche for himself in the world of human resources.
We know as a student ourselves that career, interview, tension, placement इन सब के बारे में सोचते सोचते हम सब कितने परेशान हो जाते हैं एंड इसी के लिए टिप्स एंड ट्रिक्स के साथ हमारे बीच आए हैं विशाल सर अपने टिप्स लेके आपको एक अच्छी सी मोटिवेशन स्पीच देने के लिए His dedication to enhancing the candidate experience and fostering a positive team culture has not only elevated the organization he has been a part of, but also set a high standard for excellence in the industry.
Whereas, talking about our STEAM IPSA, founded with a commitment to excellence in education, IPS Academy stands for as a beacon of knowledge and opportunity in the heart of the city. With a strong emphasis on nurturing talent and fostering holistic development, IPS Academy has established itself as a premier institution in central India.
One of the key pillars that underscores IPS Academy's dedication to its students' success is its dynamic placement cell. The placement cell at IPSA is a hub of activity, tirelessly working to bridge the gap between top-tier organizations and students. This cell not only facilitates placements but also grooms students to meet the demands of the competitive job market.
Guided by experienced professionals and industry experts, the placement cell at IPS Academy Indore energetically prepares students for their career journeys. Through workshops, seminars, mock interviews, and skill enhancement sessions, the cell equips students with the necessary tools and confidence to excel during placements. The mission of IPSA goes like embarking on a journey to fortify and elevate the synergy between academia and industry through the unbreakable thread of campus engagement.
Pioneering the creation of an abundance of avenues meticulously crafted to empower the eligible students with an array of choices within the dynamic realm of the job market, all while nurturing robust affiliations with key industry stakeholders. Imbuing the students with comprehensive training in the refinement of their personalities, equipping them to boldly navigate the challenges of this fiercely competitive era.
Guys, we need your kind attention here because अब जो आने वाला है वो बहुत आपके काम आने वाला है.
Yes, we are talking about one of the today's perks, some monographs written by our chief guest. On this note, I would like to quote famous Indian poet Gulzar Sahab. गौर फरमाइएगा.
क्या बात है.
खुली किताब के सफ़े उलटते रहते हैं, खुली किताब के सफ़े उलटते रहते हैं, हवा चले या ना चले दिन पलटते रहते हैं. As an author, Mr. Chinchure wrote numerous books. The bestsellers on Amazon are Lesser Known Secrets, An Ideal Candidate Framework,
The Art of Crafting a CV,
that little extra of an extraordinary candidate. Mr. Vishal's insights have guided countless individuals on their career paths. His expertise shines through in his writing, helping readers navigate the complexities of career growth and development.
Today, we have the privilege of having Mr. Vishal Chinchure with us, a true influencer and leader in the realms of talent acquisition, career coaching, and team culture. Just as a seed pushed through the soil to reach the light, your struggle propel you towards the brilliance of success.
Absolutely. And on this note, I would like to quote eminent visionary and paradigm shifting साइंटिस्ट डॉक्टर APJ अब्दुल कलाम, इंतज़ार करने वालों को उतना ही मिलता है, इंतज़ार करने वालों को उतना ही मिलता है जितना कोशिश करने वाले छोड़ देते हैं. We are privileged to have with us someone who has been an architect of knowledge and a driving force behind academic excellence. Please join us in welcoming the esteemed head of Humanities Department, Dr. Shalini Mathur ma'am, to the stage for presenting a token of love and appreciation to the trailblazing author, renowned speaker, and esteemed HR thought leader, Mr. Vishal Chinchure, and addressing our college.
बता दीजिए कि आप IPS अकेडमी के बच्चे हैं. Once more.
Thank you, Zaina. Thank you, Nakshat. Oh, nicely, you both are doing very nice. And I welcome all the students in this great learning opportunity. And we are really honored to have Vishalji in IPS Academy as the renowned and enthusiastic speaker for today's session. I hope your session will be a transformative step in the journey of our students. And my dear students, as you all are gradually moving on your chosen career journey, so this session I am sure will provide you with different perspective, some insight, very different insight and strategies to face the challenges in your coming journey. And what I can say, normally it is believed that the future of anyone depends on what you do in the present time. So this is my advice. I entreat you that start creating your future with your deliberate efforts. Okay? So this is my request. Please grab this opportunity and learn with our enthusiastic guests. So the session is all yours, floor is all yours. Welcome, sir. Welcome.
Thank you so much. All right, good morning. Louder. 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 Louder again. Once more. All right, that's the crowd. Okay. Well, you know what? I must say, I'm a little nervous because of the warm welcome you gave. I think, my expectations are much higher than what I was expecting. And it's lovely to see such, beautiful, fresh morning faces here in the auditorium. And, it's full. Well, I'm humbled. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll introduce myself and, I'll give you a little story about, who I am, where I came from, and why I am here today. My name is Vishal Chinchure, and I have total 14 years of experience into human resources, and I am in human resources by choice. So mind my words, I am in human resources by choice. Now I see most of you here, have come to, figure out your careers. You have come to figure out, or probably you would have made a decision that, okay, this is what I want. And if you have not done that yet, I think you still got some time. So make sure, you're choosing your career and not a job, right? This whole journey of career is not about how will I look in next 5 years, how much money will I earn in next 10 years, am I going to have a good house, am I going to have a good car, and all that stuff. Those are all accessories which come along with your career, but something, the motivational drive which will keep you on your toes all the time is you do what you love. With me so far? Yeah, you'll have to raise a hand if you are with me so far. Everybody, raise your hand. Brilliant, good. So now, so when we are talking about, what are we choosing? So what happens when we don't choose our career, or what happens when we are in a place when we are in a place, which is not of our choice, you will end up paying the cost of ignorance. Okay? You will end up paying the cost of, once more, what will we end up paying the cost of? Ignorance. The cost of ignorance is much, much higher, and that just compounds every minute, every hour, every day, every week, every year you pass on. And that will start building some guilt inside you. And that will kill the spark. And that will not give you a sense of purpose why you are here. So far with me? All right. So let me tell you something about myself, and I hope this will motivate you, because I have a story. You will not believe this, but I had very poor academic records. Okay? When I started my schooling, I failed in 8th standard. Can you believe? I failed in 8th standard. Has anybody failed in school here? जैसे year loss हुआ है किसी का? All right, I have a friend there. I have another friend here. So if you still see, the number is very, very low, right? And I'm not ashamed of saying that I failed. So I failed in 8th standard, and मेरे साथ मेरा एक जुड़वा भाई है. His name is Vaibhav, Vishal and Vaibhav. So we are two brothers. So when we started our journey, we were not very good at academics, okay? And back then, ऐसा होता था कि अगर आप पढ़ाई में अच्छे हो तो आप अच्छे हो, और अगर आप पढ़ाई में अच्छे नहीं हो तो आपके साथ कुछ भी ठीक नहीं होगा. Has it ever happened with you? होता है? अभी भी होता है, right? But back then, when I started, it was very aggressive. तो मैं और वैभव एक ही क्लास में थे, and we were very naughty. अब पढ़ाई नहीं करते थे तो कुछ तो करना ही था. So we were very naughty, right? And when we were naughty, we used to tease a lot of teachers, students, fellow classmates and everything. So, you wouldn't have liked me back then. I'm sure, all the teachers here wouldn't have liked me back then. So, when I started, तो 8th standard में मैं fail हुआ, तो सारे teachers happy हो गए. बोले कि okay now, चलो ये दोनों की जोड़ी टूट गई है. So, I was in 8th standard. वैभव जो था, वो 9th standard में चला गया. Okay, and we had to somehow manage, and I think we were missing each other. उसके बाद वैभव 9th स्टैंडर्ड में फेल हुआ, मैं 9th स्टैंडर्ड में आ गया. Yeah. So when this happened, I think we were happy to be back together, because मुझे मेरा साथी मिल गया था with whom I can be very, very naughty. So I failed in 8th standard. उसके बाद my math was very, very poor. So मेरा math बहुत poor था. So I came in, and 10th standard में मैं दोबारा फेल हुआ. 10th स्टैंडर्ड में उसके बाद मैंने सप्लीमेंट्री दिया. सप्लीमेंट्री देने के बाद आई गॉट 33. पासिंग मार्क्स कितना होता है? तो मुझे सप्लीमेंट्री देने के बाद 33 आया. दैट मीन्स आई एम थैंकफुल टू द पीपल हु गेव मी ग्रेस मार्क्स. उस ग्रेस मार्क्स की वजह से मैं यहाँ पे हूँ. 10th ख़त्म हुआ, एंड देन मेरे पापा ने मुझे पूछा, विशाल आगे क्या करना है? उनको तो लगा कि मैं मैकेनिक बन जाऊँगा या कोई किराना शॉप खोल दूँगा, बट उन्होंने बोला कि कुछ आगे करना है. मैंने बोला कुछ तो होगा, आगे करते हैं. फिर मैंने बोला कि साइंस तो नहीं लूँगा क्योंकि मैथ्स मुझे आता नहीं है. देन आई डिसाइडेड ओके व्हाट, लेट मी डू कॉमर्स, लेट्स फिगर आउट कि उसमें होता क्या है. सो आई गॉट इनटू कॉमर्स. जब मैं कॉमर्स में गया, आई रियलाइज कि उसमें अकाउंटिंग होता है. राइट? सो नंबर्स वेर नेवर लीविंग मी. ओके, नंबर्स कभी मुझे छोड़ ही नहीं रहे थे. एंड आई मस्ट बी ऑनेस्ट, एंड आई कैन बी ऑनेस्ट राइट नाउ, आई एम हियर. मैंने चीटिंग किया. sorry to the dignitaries here, okay? I cheated, और चीटिंग की वजह से ही मैं पास हुआ. So I copied, I tried, but again I tried hard to कुछ समझ में नहीं आता था, तो what I did, I started by hearting the stuff, but that's not how it works, right? So it didn't work. Somehow I cleared, and उसके बाद आगे क्या करना है? ओके, ग्रेजुएशन हो गया. उसके बाद क्या, नहीं, +2 हो गया. उसके बाद करना है बीकॉम कर लेते हैं, क्योंकि तभी वही था, तो मैंने बीकॉम किया. अगेन आई हैड नंबर्स इन माय जर्नी. नंबर्स खत्म हुए, देन फाइनली डैडी ने पूछा कि आगे क्या करना है? एमबीए करना है. बट आई वाज वेरी एम्बिशियस. मुझे लगा कि आईआईएम में करना है. आईआईएम कभी नहीं मिलता मुझे, एटलीस्ट तभी तो कभी नहीं मिलता. सो फिर पापा ने बोला क्या करोगे? बोला कोचिंग करूँगा. ओके, फिर मैं गया, पुणे गया, एंड आई वाज इन पुणे, एंड मैंने थोड़ा सा कोचिंग किया वहाँ पे. समझ में आया कि आईआईएम मेरे बस की बात है ही नहीं. सो वो क्लियर हो गया. तो पैसे देने से एक क्लैरिटी आ गई. कुछ सीखा तो नहीं, लेकिन क्लैरिटी मुझे मिल गई. देन आई केम इन. फिर हमारे यहाँ पे एक पीजीसीईटी होता है. आई डोंट नो इफ़ यू हैव सीईटी हियर टू गेट इनटू कॉलेजेस. तो हमारे यहाँ पे पीजीसीईटी होता है, एंड ड्यूरिंग दिस पीजीसीईटी देयर वेर मेरा रैंकिंग आया 53,743. Did you know how many people attended? 55,000. तो I got the last college which was available in Bangalore. बस मुझे दिमाग में एक था कि I have to go to Bangalore now क्योंकि I was hoping कि मुझे शायद वहाँ पे कोई exposure मिल जाए क्योंकि Tier 2 cities में उतना exposure नहीं मिलता है the way you get it in Tier 1 cities, right? And I think that was the best decision of my life so far. I decided to still take up MBA despite the college was not good. And then, so if you see my journey, I started running away from numbers. I started running away from accounting. I started running away from calculations. And finally, I landed into a place called doing my MBA. तभी दो options थे. I could either do marketing या फिर HR, right? यही था. अब marketing जब मैंने सोचा, यार मुझे sales तो करना नहीं है रोड पे जाके. मुझे कुछ बेचना नहीं है. Maybe I'm not good at it. तो सोचा HR. तो finally, if you ask me, the choice of my career was running out of options. Okay? The choice of my career was running out of options. I finally landed into HR. Okay, ये बात अलग है कि now I am in love with HR. I love the job I do, and I have made my truce with it. But given a chance, if somebody would have gone back 10 years and tell me, Vishal, what would you do, if everything was in your control, or if you go back in time, what is the thing you would change? Then I would say, कि if I go back in time, I would want to get back into some creative field and get into gaming. या फिर I would wanted to get back into defense. So these were my two career options जो मैंने सोचा था कि ये मेरे लिए best है, but I couldn't do that. And now you know what? If you ask me, do I have a guilt? Yes, I have a guilt. I just said a term called the cost of ignorance is much, much higher, right? So I wish I could go back in my time and fix this cost of ignorance because I am paying the cost of ignorance. So my dear friends, now you are all here, okay, in that stage where I was 10, 15 years back, and I wish I could make a choice. You are here now, so please make sure what you are getting into is by choice, is by love, is by passion. अपने आप को vision करो. This is how I see myself 15 years from now. अगर vision करना ही है तो see how do you want to retire, not how you want to get into your first job. Does that make sense? Raise your hand, everybody. Brilliant. All right. Can we all stand up? Teachers, you can be here. Can we all stand up? All right, we can sit down. Sit down. All right, stand up again. Okay, we can sit down. I just wanted to get some energy in the room, and agar thode sleepy faces hai, I wanted everybody to wake up. All right? So round of applause for all of you and such a warm welcome. All right. So now we will try and cover a few things. So in this journey, I wrote a book, and this book has come from my pure passion. तो आज मैं अगर इंदौर में हूँ, and I have been doing so many motivational talks in different universities in Bangalore and other Tier 2 cities in India, that comes out of my passion. Okay? So if I'm in Indore, this is on my own cost. And see, passion is such a powerful thing that you will not have any challenges. मेरे पास पैसे है या नहीं है, that is never my problem. अगर पैसे का थोड़ा सा ऊपर नीचे भी होता है, I make sure I manage because I am doing something for my passion. So the passion drives you and it takes the best out of you. All right? It takes the best out of you. So that is the reason we are here. And I think it is lovely that your college does these things. It invites speakers and everybody who can give you some real-time life experiences. You are here in the best hands. So I think a wonderful job to IPS Academy. Okay, so now I have written a book, and in this book, I have done a lot of research. So just imagine, 8th standard में मैं fail हुआ, 10th में fail हुआ, and you know my story now. Has anybody imagined कि मैं कभी book लिख पाऊँगा? It's hard to believe, right? It was hard to believe for me, and मेरी मम्मी तो रो दी, मेरे लड़के ने किताब लिख दिया, right? So it was such a thing, and see, that is exactly what I'm telling. Passion makes you do things which you have never imagined. Passion unlocks your potential beyond your comprehension. Okay? Now, so right now we are here. I'm trying to cover a few subjects like, do we have mic in the audience? Mic hai audience mein? Okay, all right. So I'm going to ask you one question. Now you are in a phase of your life, where you will soon be getting into मुझे जॉब करना है. Everybody wants to do a job, right? Or probably there are few entrepreneurs here जिसको किसका you wanted to start something on your own. Okay, there are some businessmen here, and you're trying to figure out कि मुझे करना क्या है. And 90% of the time we feel that getting into a job would be a good start for our career. Do you think so? Yeah? Do you think getting into a job would be a good start for our career? It is true. I mean, it's for me. I mean, when I started, I needed a job to have a kickstart. Now I'm doing things are out of my passion. But to start with, I need some exposure, right? And now we are here, and we will discuss and unlock few secrets जो तुमको बाहर नहीं मिलेगा, and I'm going to tell that to you. Are we all excited? Are we all excited? Are we all excited? Are we all excited? All right, that's the spirit. Now, so in this book, I have done a lot of research, and I have spent enough time talking to hiring managers. I am a recruiter myself. मुझे 14 साल का experience है. I started my job in a real estate firm. उसके बाद I was in IBM. IBM में मैंने थोड़ा सा global mobility वगैरह किया. I did some recruitment in IBM. And after IBM, I moved to State Street. Anybody heard about State Street? नाम सुना है? नहीं, मैंने भी नहीं सुना था join करने से पहले. So don't worry. So I joined State Street. State Street is one of the global investment bank. This is 230-year-old company. It's a Boston-based organization, and it's a global bank. Okay, when I say bank, it's not a retail bank, but an investment bank. Have you heard about BlackRock, JP Morgan, Ernst & Young? It is something like that. Okay, now, so being in State Street, I got opportunity to talk to hiring managers, talk to the candidates, being a moderator between hiring manager and a candidate, and try to understand them. Okay? See, understanding human beings, observing human being is one of the things which has always, lit a spark in my mind. And that is the motivation for me writing my book. So before I could write my book, I have done a lot of research. I have read YouTube पे या फिर Google पे ऐसा कोई भी article या video नहीं होगा जो मैंने नहीं देखा है before I could start writing my book. Okay, and उसके बाद I spoke to so many people within the industry. I spoke to so many people from Ernst & Young. मेरे company में कई सारी human resources के managers वगैरह है, my ex-bosses, and all the network I have. I spoke to everybody and tried to understand how does a hiring manager look at a candidate. उसके criteria क्या होते हैं अगर उनको किसी candidate को select करना है उस job के लिए. Okay, so are you guys excited? If I'm going to give you some secrets, I'm going to. It's like giving you a question paper. तुमको अगर एग्जाम से पहले क्वेश्चन पेपर मिलेगा तो कैसे लगेगा? सही लगेगा नहीं? ऐसा नहीं होगा. But I'm trying to give you something here. So I'm trying to give you some secrets. Secrets मतलब I'll tell you what exactly a hiring manager is looking in a candidate. Based on that, if you start preparing yourself, I think you are going to have edge over 100 other candidates who are standing against you. With me so far? If I don't get response, we are going to stand up and sit down again. Stand up. Stand up, stand up. Come on, come on, come on. All right, sit down. Okay. All right, can I have your attention now? Do we have a good energy in the room? Louder? All right, brilliant. So now, before, I'm going to use a lot of Hindi in between. Is that okay? Okay. So, a hiring manager, when he is trying to assess a candidate, he has few things in his mind. Okay? There are two minds. All of us have two minds. One is a conscious mind, and one is a subconscious mind. Okay. Now, we are trying to learn how are we going to influence the subconscious mind of a hiring manager. Okay. Now, let's say we are in an interview, and while we are in an interview, he has a conscious mind who welcomes you, who greets you, and who says, come sit down, and he asks you questions and try to get answers. And then there is a subconscious mind, which is constantly influencing his decision about hiring a candidate. इस subconscious mind में क्या होता है? And what information does the subconscious mind hold? A subconscious mind holds information about, for example, let's say we are hiring for a role of a sales, okay, for a sales guy. Let's say, it's a software sales में कोई बंदा है and they want to hire somebody for that position. So if he's hiring somebody for that position, he or she would have 4 to 5 criteria. And if somebody covers those criterias while he is in the interview answering his questions, okay? And if somebody gives him a feeling, ki, okay, out of these 5-6 criterias, even if I hit the top 3 criterias, his decision making is already influenced in your favor. Okay? All right? Now let's try and see ki, what are these criterias. If we can move to the next slide, please. Okay, so when I was doing a lot of research, and after interviewing so many candidates, I figured out that these are the 10 criterias, or iske beyond बहुत ही rare होता है that they would want to look something beyond this in any candidate, and this is universal in nature. Whether you are a data scientist, whether you are a business intelligence guy, whether you are into sales, whether you're into human resources, CRM, customer service, जो भी है. Okay? Now, next slide, please. So the first criteria is having an impactful CV. Having an impactful CV is like having a gate pass. आप movie देखने जाते हो? We go to theaters? All of us? Right. So when we go to, no, we don't? I don't believe that. We all go. Yeah. So when we go to theaters, the ticket what we get, right? जो last वाला होता है, recliners. We have recliners in the last. Those are expensive ones, right? You have to pay extra. Okay, so if you will get a recliner, or you will get somewhere in the middle, or you will get in the front, it depends on what kind of a ticket you have. So your CV is the ticket to your interview. Okay, and CV is something, it is such a document which talks a lot about you before you even meet a human being, right? जो hiring manager या recruiter या फिर कोई भी anybody who's going to interview you, before he interviews you, he looks at your CV, and based on that he decides whether he wants to interview you or not. Everybody with me? All right, good. So it is very important that you have a strong and an impactful CV, because somebody is going to judge you enough before they even talk to you. And let's say you are a very interesting person. Let's say you are a person with a lot of knowledge and credibility. But how will the hiring manager, recruiter, or interviewer know that you are such a good candidate before he talks to you, right? That's why it is very important that you have a very strong and impactful CV. Okay? Let's move on. The second thing is if you can perform the job or not. Matlab, let's say if you are into sales, or let's say you are into human resources or something, they would want to know कि आप job कर पाओगे या नहीं. Pretty straightforward. Yeah, straightforward. They are investing in you so that you can come and do a job for them, right? So they would want to know whether you are going to do the job or not. Now that means to say कि you would need to have a strong CV. Second thing is you need to make sure that you give a feeling to the hiring manager that you are capable of doing a job. We will definitely cover how do we do that, okay? The third thing we have is, are you going to make your manager's job easy, right? If they are hiring you, they are investing in you. What is the investment here? Can anybody say what is the investment here? They are going to invest you if they are going to hire in you, right? So, yeah, anybody, you raised a hand? I'm sorry, it's hard to hear you. Yeah. So what kind of investment does a hiring manager or organization do when you're?
You asked what is investment. So
Yeah.
I wanted to say that, like, if they are investing in you, that means they expect something from you. Like, you can benefit them in the future.
Bingo. All right, exactly. So that means to say there has to be a ROI, return on investment, right? The investment here is they are going to invest in your training, they are going to invest in your laptop, the place where you sit, the cafeteria, then everything that provides you when you come there, right? So that's an investment. And if there is an investment, they would want something in return, right? So that's, the return is if you can do a wonderful job, just not that, but it also is, can you make the manager's job easy? Right? So now let me give you one example. When I'm interviewing candidates, okay, I interview candidates on daily basis. So when I interview them, मान लो there are 2 candidates out of which I have to make a decision. There is one candidate who is good at his job. He comes with, let's say, 5 years of experience, and he tells me, Vishal, I can do this job, I have experience. Look, these are my certificates, these are my achievements, मुझे award भी मिला है, yada, yada, yada. So ये सब हो गया. And there is this another candidate who also has similar experience, similar certifications, similar awards and everything. But this candidate says me, Vishal, you know what, how about I help you in the reports what you do every week? I would love to know, what is that your job does and how can I make it easy. So this kind of feeling when you give it to a hiring manager, okay, you are naturally having an edge over other candidates. With me so far? I'm not going to continue if I don't have all the hands up in the air. All right. Brilliant. If you are naturally interested in the job, okay, so now I'm doing this lecture here, right? Because this is my natural interest. Nobody has asked me to do this. I'm here on my own capacity, right? Why? Because I am naturally interested in this job. Now, my dear friends, when you are choosing your career, when you are getting into a job, make sure that you are getting into a job which you love. Now, I don't have to tell you how you find that out. You know what you love. But make sure you're getting into a job, what you love, which will give you a natural interest towards your job. When you have natural interest, you will unlock your potential. You will naturally do good at it. That means to say you're naturally good in that job also. So far with me? All right. The next thing is, are you flexible at your job? What is flexibility? Anybody? Flexibility. Anybody? Raise your hand. Come on, guys, come on. Yes, lady over there. What is flexibility? You can shout out on her behalf if anybody hears her. Anybody else? What is flexibility? Being comfortable. Okay. What else? Yes? Okay, doing more than what is expected, doing multiple things, yeah?
We can survive in any situation, like there is something which is not possible or kind of difficult.
Okay, all right, pretty much. Okay, so let me tell you what is flexibility. Flexibility has many definitions in a workspace, right? So flexibility can, let's say the basics, if it is expected to, travel when you're not expecting, are you flexible enough to travel? That could be one. Flexibility is basically, when you are expected to do something which is not part of your job. With me? Flexibility is something when they are expecting to do which is not part of your job. And are you flexible enough? And again, when you're workspace, everything cannot be black and white. Everything cannot be written and said, okay, ye karna hai, to ye karna hi hai. You cannot say ki, this is not part of my job. Why should I do it? Well, you can say that, and there's nothing wrong in it. But you are not being flexible enough. That means to say you're restricting your growth and learning. Okay? So every time you're in an interview, please give this feeling to a hiring manager that you are flexible enough. Can we move to the next slide? The next thing is, do you fit the team and company's culture? Okay, it is very important. So a hiring manager, if there is a team already existing, right? Can you, yeah, okay. If there is a team which is already existing and they have a set culture, okay, there are set rules, and let's say they are very friendly or they work together, and then there is a new team member who comes in the team, and if you give the manager feeling that, what, I'm not very flexible, he's not going to be very sure about you. Make sense? With me? All right. Are you a job loyalist? Anybody, can somebody say what is job loyalist? Okay, so sticking to one job. Okay, all right. Anybody else? Yeah, that's right. So sticking to a job, again, sticking to a job is almost there, but job loyalist is, how loyal are towards it. I mean, it's not about sticking to a company. If you're referring ki, if I'm not changing the job, but how loyalist are you to the job? For example, let's say I'm in the beginning of my career, like most of you are, and I imagine or I dream myself to be a data science engineer or a data scientist. But since the market is down, you know what? Let me take up something else. It is not about the company, but it is about the choices you are making towards your career, right? So if you give a feeling to the manager that you are here just to fill the stopgap and not merely very serious about what you want to choose, if he gets that feeling, your chances are just declining again. With me so far? Louder? Okay. Are you ambitious or over ambitious? इसमें कुछ फर्क है ambition और over ambition में? Anybody? Raise your hand. Anybody? All right. So ambition और over ambition में बहुत फर्क होता है. For example, see, and this is something which I've noticed, and not only in India. I've interviewed in Ireland, UK, Luxembourg, Poland, most of the Europe and US as well. So when I'm asking a candidate, okay, so what are your salary expectations? And you know what? Let me ask you guys. Anybody? Let's say you are a fresher. Okay, gentleman over here. Which background are you from? BCom. Okay. So what kind of a job are you looking for in future? I'm sorry. Army officer. Okay. We'll take another example then. Let's take something who wants to get into a corporate. Anybody wants to get into a corporate here? Yes, lady here. What kind of a job are you looking for?
Right now, I'm doing my BCom. After that, I plan to do MBA in consultancy, and then I wanted to enter in the corporate world.
Okay, all right. So let's say you are in your first job. How much salary do you expect? If this is my question in an interview.
I will give my CAT, and somewhere I know I'll not get into the IIMs, but
that's not my question. How much salary do you expect?
I want my starting salary to start from at least 12 lakh.
At least 12 lakh.
Yeah.
Okay. A classic example of over-ambition.
Okay.
Yeah? All right. Now let me ask you, what are your ambitions? It's not a salary question. What are your ambitions? What do you expect out of a job is my question. Anybody, lady here or anybody else? We can start with you. What are your ambitions? What are your expectations from this job?
I don't get the question, sorry.
Okay. अगर आप इस job में हो, what is that you want to take away from this job? Like job is going to give you salary.
Yeah.
What are you going to take away from the job? I'm sorry? Experience? Mm-hmm. Skills, okay. Yeah, we're getting there. Louder.
The experience and the skills we can learn on our own.
Skills, okay, you can learn on your own.
I think salary is important.
Salary is important. How about, nobody's talking about learning here. Why are we not talking about learning? Okay, you know what? If you're getting, let's say if you're expecting a 12 lakh salary, and you know what? It's okay. I'm not saying that you will not get a salary, but you need to show that you're worth at least 20 lakhs, तभी वो तुमको 12 लाख तो देंगे. ठीक है? You need to show that you're at least worth 20 lakhs so that you get a 12 lakh salary. Okay, now, so when we're talking about ambition, please think, and when you're in an interview, give a feeling to a hiring manager that you are here for learning. And it is just not with you. I have interviewed so many freshers across different universities, including IIM. When I'm asking them, what are your expectations from the job? Everybody talks about salary. Everybody talks about travel. Everybody talks about, this is what I want to do. And there are very few candidates who say, this is what I want to learn. This is how I see myself doing this job. I want to be expert in this field. Make sense so far with me? Not everybody is here with me? Everybody, come on. All right, brilliant. Okay, they would want to know why are you leaving the job or why are you joining the job? Again, it comes to your motivation. So if you already have a job in the hand and if you're leaving, give them a good reason why you're leaving this job. Can anybody tell me what could be a good reason for leaving a job? I know you don't have experience, most of you, but if you have, what do you think is a good answer to it? Why are you leaving your previous job? Better opportunity, okay. Anybody else? Yes? Lack of learning opportunity, is that what you said? That's a good one, yeah. Exactly. So now when somebody asks you, why are you leaving your last job? Or in your case, why do you want this job? Okay, that would be a question if you're freshers. So give them a feeling that, you are here, to get the best out of yourself. You are naturally interested in this. इसका मतलब ये है कि the person who is going to manage you, उसका काम आसान होना चाहिए. He shouldn't spend a lot of time monitoring you. He shouldn't spend a lot of time knowing कि इसको आ रहा है या नहीं आ रहा है. If you're naturally good at something, you will get there anywhere. Okay? With me so far? All right. Okay, and if you fit the budget, so again, to your question, if you fit the budget, to start with, don't worry about budget at all. Don't have expectations about salary. It is good to, be realistic about what you expect. But again, if you want to know कि तुम्हारा salary कितना होना चाहिए, or based on your years of experience, or if you're a fresher, there are a lot of tools which you can go and check. Gallup can give you that, and there is something called Glassdoor. Glassdoor. Anybody has heard about Glassdoor? Yes. So you can go on Glassdoor and you can figure out कि at this level for this role how much is the salary. So make a note of this Glassdoor. Glassdoor. Okay. Glassdoor is one of the a website where you can figure this out. With me so far? All right, can we move to the next slide? Okay, now that we have figured out that what a hiring manager is expecting out of a candidate he wants to hire, now these are the competencies, okay? What are competencies? Anybody? I'm sorry? Okay, what are competencies? You got to be a little louder. Okay, competencies are like, the attributes which you hold while you're performing a job, like your key skills. And these are the skills, which can be trained, and it comes with a lot of experience and education. Okay? Now let's look at, so based on my research and experience and talking to thousands of people, I have realized that there are 5 key competencies. And if a candidate in an interview showcases that out of these 5, agar mere paas 3 bhi hai, even if I have 3 of these competencies, I'm getting the job. All right? Now, excited to look what they are? Louder? Yes, louder? Yes, once more? Yes, brilliant. Now let's look at what are the key competencies. If you can move to the next slide, please. Okay, so the first one is information analysis. Okay, this is a core thing about your job. In any job, you will be given a lot of information, right? It can be in the form of data. It can be in form of, you're talking to the candidates. It can be in talking to the clients. So your ability to analyze that information is a very critical role. It plays a very critical role in decision-making whether they want to hire you or not. So every time you are in an interview, please give them a feeling that, yes, I can analyze information. With me so far? The second thing we have is problem-solving ability. They have hired you to solve some problems. Again, problem cannot be like kuch problem hai, you have to exactly solve this. Like hiring needs can be a problem you want to solve. Just say if I'm in HR, not exactly a problem, but my job is to make sure that I am hiring candidates for my organization across the globe. That means to say I have to address one particular situation, right? So you have to give a feeling to a hiring manager, recruiter, or anybody who interviews you that you have problem-solving ability. That means to say you need to have key information, important information, and all that information you need to do the job. With me so far? All right. The next thing is decision-making ability, right? You will be posed to thousands of situations where you will have to make a decision. Well, lucky for you, there are a lot of policies and guidelines in the organization which will tell you what is right or what is wrong. So now we were here at decision making we covered, and the next important thing to have a competency is about planning. Okay, it is about planning. So what is planning? Planning is thinking ahead of time, thinking what has happened in the past, analyzing the current situation, and then making a decision is called planning. Okay, so there is a very famous quote which says, planning to fail is failing to plan, or failing to plan is planning to fail. समझ में आया? आया समझ में? आया समझ में? नहीं आया? Okay, all right. अगर हम लोग प्लान करने में फेल होते हैं, इसका मतलब है कि हम लोग फेल हो जाएंगे. We are planning to fail. हम प्लान कर रहे ही फेल के लिए. अभी समझ में आया? All right, good. The next thing is about good communication. Now, what is good communication? Anybody? Anybody? What is a good communication? Come on, guys, come on. What is good communication? Team member को अच्छे से guide करना. Okay. A little louder. अपने टीम से communicate. But communicate क्या है? What is communicate? Okay. How to interact with someone? Yes, yes, lady in the green. I saw you raising hand thrice. Bingo. All right. So when we talk about communication, we often confuse communication to good English, right? We often confuse communication to good English. अच्छी English होना मतलब अच्छा communication होना ये ज़रूरी नहीं है, okay? Good English, I mean English is a mode of communication and not communication itself. Make sense? English is a mode of communication and not communication itself. Okay, let's talk about one of the greatest speaker, APJ Abdul Kalam. We were talking about him this morning, right? So, do you think Mr. APJ Abdul Kalam he used a lot of fancy words in English? His English is as simple as a 4th standard kid. Is that right? Right. But is he there making an impact on people's life? Right. Do you find my English very fancy? I'm trying to use the simplest English I can. And why? Because I know a simple English makes a lot of impact than a complicated English. So please do not confuse yourself that a good English means good communication. A good communication is when you are able to deliver the message what you want to give. A person with a low IQ, a high IQ, or let him be at any place, if he understands what you're trying to say, that means good English. With me so far? Raise your hand. Louder? Yes, once more? Yes, all right. Can we move to the next slide, please? All right. Now, you know what? So I want you to have some attention here, okay? So, please listen to me carefully. If you have phones, if you're fidgeting with it, or, if you're yawning or something, just, snap yourself up and listen to this, okay? Now, I'm going to talk something very, very important. Okay, so being in the job market, being an expert in human resource, or at least when I feel that, I have some experience than most of us here is, I have seen the biggest problem what we have, or biggest problem somebody faces in their job journey or in their career journey is, jobs, when we apply, jobs are getting advertised, correct? Naukri.com पे आता है, LinkedIn के ऊपर आता है, Shine के ऊपर आता है, Monster के ऊपर आता है. Otherwise, you go to the company's website and then you apply for a job. Is that what we do most of the time? Unless you are headhunted, मतलब somebody is looking for your profile and then they are calling you. Okay, but 90% of the time, this is what it happens. Do you believe me? Louder? Okay, I'll repeat that again. Most of the times, when we are freshers, we tend to apply for the jobs. Okay, we are not in that experience that, somebody will start looking for you. With me so far? Ye samajh mein aaya? Okay. Now, when you're applying for the job, one of the most frustrating thing about applying for the job is, मैं apply तो कर रहा हूँ, but nobody is calling me for the job. Happens? Have you guys applied for a job? No? Okay, but when you start applying for a job, this will be the first thing you'll be frustrated about. And why do you think nobody is calling you? There are two major reasons. Sorry? I can't hear you. Lack of experience. Okay, but you're a fresher. Let's say you're applying for a fresher's job. There is no question about experience there, right? Can you think of anything else? CV, a not good CV, okay. Skills, okay, but you're a fresher. And see, again, understand one thing. When a company or an organization or a hiring manager is trying to interview you, he's not looking for a vice president candidate. Usko pata hai ki aap fresher ho, to uska expectations from you is also as a fresher, right? But what I'm talking is, why will you not get a call? Now, I can see there are two major reasons. The number one is there is very high competition, right? There is very high competition, which is still okay. That is something which is not in your control. But there is something which is in your control is, what kind of CV do you have? Okay, and does your CV is your CV ATS friendly? ATS, Application Tracking System. You should know about this. If you have not, go back home and research about it. Okay, ATS stands for Application Tracking System. What is Application Tracking System? इन लेमैन्स लैंग्वेज ये एक ऐसा टूल है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल जब आप अप्लाई करते हो जॉब के लिए और अपना CV अपलोड करते हो, व्हेन यू गिव द डिटेल्स, योर CV गोज एंड सिट्स इन ATS. एप्लीकेशंस उनको ट्रैक करने का सिस्टम ATS. विथ मी सो फार? इतना समझ में आया? अ क्लासिक एग्जाम्पल इज, जैसे सेल्सफोर्स हो गया, माई वर्कडे हो गया, पीपलसॉफ्ट हो गया, these are a few examples, and it says 99% of the organizations work through ATS. With me so far? This is critical, please listen to me. Now, One is competition, and second is your CV is not ATS friendly. So what happens is, now see, let's look at some statistics here. It says more than 250 application against each position advertised. इसका मतलब है एक रोल जब एडवर्टाइज होता है उसके पीछे on an average there are 250 applications who apply for this role. So can you see the competition? And believe me, I'm very generous when I'm saying 250. If it is a IT role or roles which require very basic skills, कम से कम 500 application आते हैं. So do you think a recruiter or a hiring manager has so much time to review all those 250 CVs and make a decision that whom he wants to interview? उसके पास इतना time है recruiter के पास? No. That is the reason why we have ATS in place. तो ATS में क्या होता है? अगर 250 या 500 एप्लीकेशंस आते हैं, ATS आपके CV को फिल्टर करता है और इट गिव्स टॉप 10 CVs ही वांट्स टू पुट फॉरवर्ड टू अ हायरिंग मैनेजर्स क्यू. अब तक समझ में आया? विथ मी? इट्स इंपॉर्टेंट, प्लीज लिसन केयरफुली. ओके, नाउ इफ योर CV इज नॉट ATS फ्रेंडली, इट विल नॉट पुट फॉरवर्ड योर एप्लीकेशन टू अ हायरिंग मैनेजर. मतलब आपने CV बनाया, प्रिपरेशन किया, इतनी बड़ी डिग्री ले ली इतने अच्छे कॉलेज से, और अगर आपका CV मैनेजर तक जा ही नहीं रहा है तो फायदा क्या है? इज इट अ वरिंग क्वेश्चन? डज दिस क्वेश्चन वरी यू? इट शुड वरी यू. Okay, this is because there is high competition and you should be aware about your competition. Now let's understand कि हम लोग इस ATS को कैसे beat कर सकते हैं. Okay, but before that let's look at some interesting stats. Any question on ATS? I'll take one question while we come there. किसी को कोई question नहीं ATS के बारे में? ओके, नो प्रॉब्लम. मतलब सब कुछ समझ में आ रहा है, कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है? आ रहा है, समझ में आ रहा है सब कुछ? हाँ जी. बीटेक को प्रेफरेंस? आई डोंट अंडरस्टैंड. ओके, यू विल हैव अ स्ट्रॉन्गर अंडरस्टैंडिंग इज व्हाट यू ट्राइंग टू से. ओके, यू विल गेट अ गुड प्रेफरेंस. ओके, वेल, ओके, मे बी. All right, let's come back. Now it also says 98. Honestly, if you ask me, 100% of the companies have ATS now. सभी कंपनी में, unless it's like a small term manufacturing company, एक छोटा सा बिजनेस है या कोई फैमिली बिजनेस है, वहाँ पे शायद ATS नहीं होता होगा. But if you're applying for a job, ATS is almost there. Okay? That means to say ATS friendly होना ही है. Yes, Majin. I will come to the AI. We'll come to that questions. Okay? I will keep 20 minutes in the last to answer your questions. Okay? All right. Now, it says 75% of the applications are rejected by ATS. You know what? 75 is still a very generous number. 250 CVs में से वो 5 CV ही देगा. तो it will give you rank 1, rank 2, rank 3, rank 4, and rank 250 तक. Manager is going to see only top 5. Okay? So, if you say not 75, you ask me 95% of the CVs are rejected by the ATS. That means to say it is very important that your CV is ATS friendly. With me so far? Okay? Now, we are talking about a process. We are in this stage जहाँ पे आपका जो CV है, it has not reached the hiring manager yet. Okay? Your CV is in a hand of a machine and machine is deciding whether he wants to put your CV forward or not. Manager तो human beings तब तो हम लोग गए नहीं है, उसके पहले आपका CV जा रहा है. Right, so it is important for you to understand how important it is to have a ATS friendly CV. With me so far? Raise your hand. Brilliant. Now, मान लो ATS ने आपके CV को shortlist कर ही लिया. उसके बाद what happens? A recruiter sees your CV. Most of the time, कभी manager, कभी recruiter. But let's say a recruiter sees your CV. The interesting fact here is, a recruiter takes 9 seconds to judge whether he wants to put your CV forward or not. Uska attention span towards your CV is just 9 seconds. How many seconds? How many seconds? How many seconds? Once more. 9 seconds, exactly. आपको CV बनाने में बहुत time लगेगा. Okay, but by the time a recruiter sees your CV, if your CV doesn't make an impact in the first 9 seconds, so if your CV doesn't make an impact in first 9 seconds, a recruiter will not read it forward or he will not put it forward to a hiring manager. With me so far? Everybody? Okay. So the attention span here is how many seconds? For a recruiter. मतलब आपके CV को देख के decide करने में वो सिर्फ 9 सेकंड लगाएगा. समझ में आ रहा है? Okay. उसके बाद मान लो वो CV hiring manager के पास चला गया. 64% of the hiring manager decides to interview a candidate or not in the first 30 seconds. तो जब रिक्रूटर ने उसको शॉर्टलिस्ट कर लिया, उसने अपना काम किया और उसने मैनेजर के सामने पुट फॉरवर्ड किया. प्रॉब्ली रिक्रूटर विल कॉल यू, आपको स्क्रीन करेगा और उसके बाद वो हायरिंग मैनेजर को सीवी देगा. ओके, हायरिंग मैनेजर विल टेक 30 seconds or less to decide whether he wants to interview you or not. How many seconds? 30 seconds only. Right? So 30 seconds only is what hiring manager will take to decide whether he wants to interview you or not. So that means to say when we are talking about having a CV, and see, all this thing is happening before you are even meeting somebody or talking to somebody, right? You're not even talking to a human being yet. It is all happening through machine, and it is all that applications are coming and somebody is viewing your CV. Is it little scary? Is it little scary? It is scary. High competition is scary. I'm not here to scare you, but I'm here to tell you how you can beat that competition. Are you excited to know that? All right. It also says 91% of the time resumes are read only if they make excellent visual impact. What is a visual impact? Koi bhi, anybody? What is a visual impact? Come on, guys. What is a visual impact? Nansuk? Nansuk, pata hai kya hota hai? Nansuk, I mean, when I'm looking in through my eyes are feeling pleased. A visual impact. Visual matlab? The vision, right? If my CV does not make a good visual impact, I'm not going to read your CV or even call you for the interview. With me so far? समझ में आ रहा है? Or is it too much? समझ में आ रहा है? किसको इसको समझ में हाथ उठाइए? Not all. नहीं समझ में आ रहा है? I'll try to make it more easy. So 91% of the time resumes are read only if they are good according to a hiring manager. मतलब देखने से ही ऐसे लगना चाहिए कि हाँ इसको इंटरव्यू करना चाहिए. The moment he gets that feeling, he'll probably call you for the interview. ये समझ में आया? Yes? Okay. All right. Hiring manager rejects a CV if they are too generic or if there is no X factor in it. समझ में आया? अगर आपका सीवी बहुत जेनरिक है, व्हाट इज जेनरिक सीवी? मैंने अपना नाम डाल दिया, मैंने अपना एजुकेशन डाल दिया, मैंने अपना जो मेजर्स है, ऑनर्स डिग्री है, वो सब डाल दिया. आई हैव गिवन की व्हाट प्रोजेक्ट आई हैव डन, याडिया मैंने सब ये कर दिया. दिस इज अ जेनरिक सीवी. नाउ थिंक, आपके सीवी में और कुछ जा सकता है इसके अलावा? वॉट एवर आई सेड, ask this question to yourself. I said a generic CV includes your name, it includes your projects you have done, it includes if you have done any fest or your education background, where you come from and so on. इसके अलावा आपके पास कुछ है डालने के लिए उसके अंदर? Sorry? Skills. Okay. Skills. Okay, for example? Programming. Okay. All right. Anything else? Different languages. Okay. All right. So now, for a general crowd here, अभी मैंने जेनरिक सीवी का एग्जाम्पल आपको बताया. अगर आपके पास इसके अलावा कुछ डालने के लिए है नहीं, isn't your CV very generic already? Right? Is your CV generic already? And what does it say? Hiring manager rejects the CV if it is generic or if there is no X factor into it. That means आपका CV reject हो रहा है. Make sense? With me so far? Yeah? Yes. Okay, you raise your hand. Okay, all right. Cool. Let's move. Let's move to the next slide, please. Okay, now you know what? We were just talking about ATS के बारे में मैं आपसे बात कर रहा था. Can I get a mouse and a keyboard, please? यहाँ पे ChatGPT open कर सकता हूँ मैं? Can I open ChatGPT? Okay. Have you heard about ChatGPT? Everybody is using it? Yes? Assignments बनाने के लिए? Are you making assignments through ChatGPT? Yes, no? Yes and no. Okay. I'll use it here. All right. So now, okay, let me tell you something. There are few free tools है जो Google पे available है. Okay, free है, कुछ करना नहीं है आपको. So there is something called, make a note of this. Okay, www.cvwolf.com. इसको नोट कर लीजिए. Okay, www.cvwolf.com. Let's try and open this. So let me tell you how does this ATS work. Okay, so ATS जो होता है, okay, listen carefully to me, then you will understand the logic behind it. when there is a ATS, what does the ATS do? What it is programmed to do? ATS is programmed to match your CV to the job description. Job description पता है? Everybody knows what is job description? It is a document which tells you कि आपका roles and responsibilities क्या होगा for this role. With me so far? Okay. Now, ATS is programmed to see how does your CV matches the job description. With me so far? And how does it match? Keywords. How does it match? Keywords. Okay. एक job description आता है. Let me give you a classic example of keyword. मान लो एक HR के job के लिए है, and if you're applying for a recruiter's role, the keywords in that job description would be recruitment, talent acquisition, screening, scheduling interviews. It could be, preparing job descriptions, talking to the hiring managers, talking to the candidates, releasing the offer, onboarding, etc., etc. समझ में आया? So these are the keywords. मतलब आपके रोल के अंदर जो प्राइमरी आपका जो रोल है उसके अंदर के कीवर्ड्स को आइडेंटिफाई करेगा. ओके, सो ATS के अंदर ये CV वुल्फ जैसा कुछ सिस्टम है जहाँ पे आप जब CV डालते हो और वहाँ पे एक जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन ऑलरेडी अवेलेबल होता है, इट मैचेस कि कितना % आपका CV मैच हो रहा है. ओके, अगर आपका CV 75%, CV का जो स्कोर है 75% से नीचे है, दैट्स अ वेरी पुअर स्कोर. आपका कोई चांस नहीं है. बट अगर आपका CV एटलीस्ट 80% से ऊपर होना चाहिए, देर आर चांसेस दैट योर CV इज इन द टॉप 10 लिस्ट ऑफ रैंकिंग. मेक सेंस? समझ में आ रहा है? ब्रिलियंट. ओके, नाउ लेट्स ट्राई एंड डू समथिंग हियर. ओके, एग्जैक्टली. ओके, ऑलराइट. सो CV, जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन. Okay, ChatGPT, यहाँ तक सबको समझ? We know, have you used ChatGPT? Brilliant. If not, you should start using it. Okay? Now, now what we are trying to do is, we are trying to match our CV to the job description. We are trying to see कि हमारे ATS score क्या है. Okay, so मान लो when I'm applying for a job and this is a recruiter's job. ठीक है, मैंने अपने कन्विंस के हिसाब से लिया क्योंकि मैं रिक्रूटर हूँ. ओके, सो आई वेंट टू गूगल एंड पुल्ड आउट अ JD. JD यूजुअली ऐसा ही होता है मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स. ओके, नाउ व्हाट आई एम डूइंग इज, हम लोग ChatGPT यूज़ करेंगे. सो सी मैंने एक प्रॉम्प्ट ऑलरेडी लिख के रखा है यहाँ पे. सो एक बार जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन मिल गया, नाउ वी नो दैट आवर CV हैज़ टू मैच द कीवर्ड्स. करेक्ट? विथ मी? ऑलराइट. तो हम लोग इसको कॉपी करते हैं एंड लेट्स गो टू ChatGPT एंड यहाँ पे हम लोग डालते हैं. ओके, और उसके बाद जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन हमारे पास ऑलरेडी है, हम लोग इसको कॉपी करते हैं. ओके, now, so the ChatGPT is giving us the keywords based on the job description. With me so far? Now, look at that. It has given 28 job descriptions based on the role what is required, plus responsibilities के हिसाब से उसने आपको यहाँ पे काफ़ी सारा दिया है, and then there is qualification based on that. It has given you job keywords. Now that means to say that your CV needs to have most of the keywords what are present here. So you don't have to do something to keywords क्या है, ChatGPT is doing that for you. Let's leverage that. Okay, now let's see. Okay, so what I'm doing is, I'll tell ChatGPT कि, what am I telling ChatGPT is saying, you are a CV writing expert. I am giving him a prompt and saying कि use these keywords and write bullet points for my CV. आपको CV बनाना पड़ेगा, correct? So when you are making a CV, if you want, you can use ChatGPT. It's one of the best tools we can use. It makes your job easy. And if you are using it, give a prompt like this. And now we are telling him you are a CV writing expert. Use these keywords and write bullet points for my CV. So what I'm doing is, I'll copy paste the keywords now. अभी हम लोग यहाँ से now it is making CV for you. CV में आप क्या include करोगे? It is giving you the bullet points. So it is making everything easy for you. Now, तो अभी हमने क्या किया? Let's try to revisit what we did. We went to ChatGPT. We have a job description for which we want to apply. We took that job description. We asked ChatGPT saying, can you please identify the keywords for me? What did ChatGPT do? It identified the keywords and gave it to me. Now, I want to make my CV ATS friendly, right? How will I make my CV ATS friendly? When my CV is matching the job description. So now I'm again asking ChatGPT, okay, these are the keywords you identified, make a CV for me. So far with me, everybody? Okay, now. So once we have done that, यहाँ पे मेरा CV ready हो गया. Okay, I'm giving you a very simple example. You will have to revisit your CV while you're making it. Okay, do not copy paste. तो मैंने अपना इसको कॉपी किया. Now there are two things I'll do. Okay. CV Wolf, right? तो मैं क्या करूँगा, पहले अपने CV को यहाँ चिपकाऊँगा. चिपकाया. अभी मैं क्या करूँगा, जॉब डिस्क्रिप्शन को यहाँ पे चिपकाऊँगा. My ATS score is? What is my ATS score? 85%. Is 85% a good score? Definitely a good score. So remember this, guys. cvwolf.com, free tool available. ChatGPT, don't use it for all other things, but use it for your career. Your ATS score needs to be at least 80 to 85 and above, so that your chances of getting called for interview are much, much higher. Okay? This will also tell you, see here, what is found in CV and what is found in the PD. It's professional description, right? JD. Okay. इसके अंदर ये चीज़ें नहीं हैं. It will give you the score. It will give you analysis कि कहाँ से कौन सी चीज़ें missing है और कौन सी चीज़ें है. With me? Does this help? Does this help? Does this help? Does this help? Brilliant. Now, let's get back to something more interesting. Okay. Now, मान लो अभी हमने CV क्रैक कर लिया, वी हैव बीट द ATS और हमारा CV अभी आ गया. मतलब अभी हम लोग सिर्फ मैनेजर के इंटरव्यू राउंड तक ही पहुंचे. मतलब वी हैव जस्ट बीन इनवाइटेड फॉर इंटरव्यू, राइट? अब तक इतना ही हुआ है हमारे साथ. नाउ द रियल चैलेंज बिगिंस हियर. नाउ आई हैव आइडेंटिफाइड कि इन एनी इंटरव्यू प्रोसेस देयर आर 5 hurdles. Hurdles is a wrong word, but there are 5 challenges you will have to cross so that you make it. With me so far? All right. So the first thing is first impression. Okay. Now let's look at some interesting statistics here. It says it takes 60 to 180 seconds to make a good first impression. किसी के ऊपर भी अगर आप first impression बनाना चाहते हो, you can make that only in first 3 minutes. If you are making a good first impression, it will take first 3 minutes. And that is why it is important to identify and figure out कि first 3 minutes में क्या क्या होता है. Let's say you are going for an interview. Okay, now raise your hands. First, when you get into interview, what happens in first 3 minutes? What happens in first 3 minutes? Take a wild guess. No right or wrong answers. Greeting somebody, right? You greet the hiring manager and all. Okay. उसके बाद क्या होता है? Introduce yourself. Brilliant. उसके अलावा क्या होता है? Pretty much there. So let's say we are in an interview situation. I am here. I come into the room. I say, please come in, right? So that's happening in first 3 minutes. You shake your hand. First 3 minutes में हो रहा है ये सब. Then he'll ask you, please sit down. Probably you're sitting down. अगर आपका इंटरव्यू वर्चुअल है, that needs to make sure कि आपके first 3 minutes में आपका इंटरनेट, आपका कैमरा वगैरह जो भी है, make sure that's working fine. ठीक है? Now, so what happens is a greeting happens in the first 3 minutes. Okay, a good eye contact happens in first 3 minutes. When you talk to somebody, you look into their eyes. That shows your confidence. So you do that. Extraordinary introduction. आपका introduction बहुत 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 ज़्यादा important है. The way you introduce yourself. Okay, this also happens in first 3 minutes क्योंकि 95% of the time, tell me about yourself. Introduce yourself. यही first question होता है, right? Your body language. How you are there, how do you sit, are you fidgety, are you nervous? If you're nervous, are you showing it up, are you smiling, you're not smiling, all that stuff. Correct? And then a good tech support if a virtual interview. Now let's see another statistics, okay. 39%, मतलब almost 40% of the candidates are rejected due to overall confidence level. अगर आपका confidence level कम है, 40% of the time गए, टाटा बाय बाय. ठीक है? 67% of the job seekers are unable to make a eye contact. 67%. Now you know what? Go back home or when you're talking to your friends, when you're talking, अगर आपके यहाँ पे campus hiring होता है, if you're conducting mock interviews or something, start noticing yourself. and see when you're talking to somebody, do you have an eye contact? आप उनकी आंखों में देखते हो या आप नीचे देखते हो? Because looking down can make you comfortable. That's okay, but it is so important that you look into somebody's eyes. It shows your confidence level. With me so far? 93% of the hiring manager confessed that they will consider an application in the first 3 minutes. Now look at this. आपके first 3 minutes कैसे होंगे ये decide करता है कि they want to hire you or not. They will decide whether they want to hire you or not in the first 3 minutes. And imagine, first 3 minutes में they have not asked you about your skills, they have not asked you about your experience, they have not asked you about your projects or anything. First 3 minutes में ये सब नहीं होता है. उसके अलावा 93% of the time they decide whether they want to hire you or not in the first 3 minutes. Is it scary? Yes. It should be scary because you have to start working on those first 3 minutes. With me so far? All right. 71% of the time, a dress code is very, very important. अगर आपका dress code अच्छा नहीं है, you're gone. It's unfair. It's unfair that this is how it is. But when you're in a fierce competition in a market, okay, tooth and nail के लिए fight होता है. So make sure that you're covering everything which is in your capacity. I'm not saying कि hiring manager will not hire you because you're wearing a shabby shirt. I mean shabby shirt yes, but it is not about the quality of a shirt, but how presentable you are with whatever you have. People see that. आपके पास पुराना shirt होगा, but can you iron that shirt? Can you make it clean? If you have a jacket, wear it. It has to match. आपका सूट मैच होता है या नहीं, ये सब अलग बातें हैं. They know you are a fresher. They know you can't afford all that stuff. But whatever resources you have available, are you making the best of it? Is what matters. With me so far? Now, 10% of the time, a bad handshake could be a reason they will not hire you. कभी सोचा था इसके बारे में? A bad handshake can be a reason why 10% of the time you are not getting shortlisted. Let's do one thing. अपने आसपास जो है ना, shake hand with them. Shake ना. So we are like, that's a bad handshake. Okay, shake hands. Come on, everybody, yeah. Everybody, yes. Okay. Now we done that. Now when you shook the hand, did you notice whether the hand was firm? It shouldn't be too tight. It shouldn't be too soft. Okay. It should at least hold for 2 seconds. And when you are shaking your hand for 2 seconds, look into the manager's eyes and smile. 10 में से 8 लोग ऐसा नहीं करते हैं. And what we are talking about, making a first good impression in the first 3 minutes. This is a very important thing in the first 3 minutes. It shows your confidence. What happens is, in first 3 minutes, if a manager feels, okay, ये बंदे में कुछ बात है, ये बंदी में कुछ बात है, his subconscious mind is already influenced in your favor. You have to start working on influencing the subconscious mind. With me so far? Make sense? Now let's see. First impression हमने बना लिया. उसके बाद क्या होता है? They would want to see कि आपके पास competencies है या नहीं. So, I mean, whenever you are giving an interview question, मान लो आपसे कोई interview question पूछता है, how do you answer it? Every time when you are answering an interview question, have a good example to answer that, to prove that. अच्छा, now let me tell you one thing, okay? When I started this conversation, आज जब मैंने शुरू किया, I started with my own story, right? अगर मान लो मैं सीधा इस पे jump करता, would you have had my attention? See, we as human beings are designed and programmed since we were kids. हमारे मम्मी पापा ने हमको स्टोरियाँ सुनाई हैं, स्कूल में हमारे पास स्टोरियाँ थी, and we as human beings are programmed to receive well when it is in a form of a story. Okay, so whenever somebody asks you an interview question, I'm not saying make up a story, but have a good example which talks that, okay, this was the situation, this is what was expected out of me, this is what I did, and finally ye hua. Right? Make sense? All the hands up in the air? Do you want to stand up once? Stand up. This is important. Stand up. Come on. All right, stand up. Not everyone standing up. Come on. Okay, sit down. And always remember, now while we are talking about, answering the interview questions, आपको क्या लगता है कि हमेशा आपको हीरो ही बनना है? You don't have to be a hero all the time. So see, you know what? मैं क्या करता हूँ? I have a good job. I'm very happy with my job. Okay. Honestly, I'm not even looking to change my job right now. But what do I do is, I still apply for all the roles. जो भी आता है मेरे लेवल पे मैं उसको अप्लाई करता हूँ and I go for the interview. Okay, why? So that I can gain some experience and see whether I stand in the market still or not. या फिर are there ऐसी कोई चीज़ें हैं जो मुझे और better करनी चाहिए so that I am always in the top. So while I am doing this, okay, मैंने एक चीज़ figure out किया है कि whenever you are giving an interview answer, come up with a story. Okay, give them something which talks about your principal character. With me so far? Everybody? Nikki, I'm not changing the job, by the way, if you're worried about that. Okay. Now, so operational excellence, again, I'll just try to keep it short. So operational excellence is, they want to know, this is mostly for people who are experienced. मतलब अगर आपके लेवल पे भी होता है तो आपके पास वो skill sets, वो ability है, if you can perform the job or not. This is what they would want to know from you. Okay? Now, the next thing is, are you aligned to the team's culture or the organization's culture? This is one of the most ignored thing. Now, has anybody gone for interview here? You have gone for interview? Okay. So now tell me, when you went for interview, you have to be honest. And it's okay if the answer is not very favorable. So when you go for an interview, have you done complete research about the organization? उनके हिस्ट्री के बारे में जाना है, हायरिंग मैनेजर्स के बारे में जाना है, आपने जानने की कोशिश की, उनके मिशन विजन के बारे में जानने की कोशिश की? Okay, all right, good. Good. So again, so what I'm trying to say here is, it is very ignored after talking to so many candidates, and I'm not talking about freshers only. I'm talking about the candidates who have 15 years of experience, sometimes 20 years of experience, yet they fail to talk about the organization, yet they fail to prepare and know about the organization, right? अगर आप कोई job के लिए जा रहे हो, is it not important that you know everything about the organization, whatever is possible? Think about it. जब मैं बैंगलोर में रहता हूँ एंड व्हेन आई थिंक अबाउट माई वर्क, अगर मान लो मैं रोज़ ऑफिस जाता हूँ, आई टेक ऑलमोस्ट 2 hours टू ट्रैवल वन वे, 2 hours टू कम बैक. 4 घंटे यहाँ पे गए. उसके अलावा आई हैव 9 hours वेयर आई सिट एंड वर्क, राइट? सो 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 hours. 24 घंटे के अंदर ऑलमोस्ट 55% ऑफ द टाइम आई हैव स्पेंट इन ऑफिस एंड ऑफिस रिलेटेड, राइट? Is it not important that I spend in a time which is in my favor, जहाँ पे मुझे अच्छा लगता हो? You are investing the prime hours of your life every single day when you're going to a job. So make sure you're going to a place where you love, where you're appreciated, and where you're growing the way you want it. With me? So that is why it is very important that you understand what the organization comes from, उसका history क्या है. And imagine, देखो, when I'm interviewing so many people, I make sure to ask, what do you know about State Street, for example? What do you know about IBM or State Street? Sir, I know this is a financial firm, it is from Boston, and it's an old company. If somebody says this much, what, I have lost the interest already. But there are 1 or 2 candidates, what do they tell me? Apart from telling the history, they also tell me, I recently read that, there was a post on LinkedIn which says your company has got a latest award on, on the ETF. एक product है उसका, on the ETF. I know that, you guys are pioneers in, developing ETF in a financial firm, right? So when somebody gives me the information, which is nobody else gives, or maybe sometimes I don't even know, imagine the impact that person makes on my mind. Make sense? And again, it's not important that you always tell some good stories. If you have failed in something, please tell that. And tell them that, now that I have failed in this particular place, I exactly know what not to do. Most of the times we are trying to learn what to do, and we fail to understand that what are the things we don't want to do or we shouldn't be doing. With me? Raise your hands with me, everybody. All right. Now, again, so you need to give a feeling to a hiring manager that you are ambitious and motivated in this job. The moment he gets a feeling that you're not ambitious and you're just here for, to fill the gap, short time ke liye job karo, the moment you give that feeling, he's saying no to you. Tata, bye-bye. Okay? Now, it says 47% of the candidates fail because they do not have enough information about the organization. 47%. And I'm talking about the people who are experienced here as well. मतलब ऑलमोस्ट 50%, 10 में से 5 लोगों को कंपनी के बारे में पता ही नहीं होता, लेकिन वो लोग इंटरव्यू के लिए चले जाते हैं. Yeah? So please make sure you're not part of that 50%, but the other 50% who knows about the organization. With me? 62% of the employers considered candidates' ability to ask relevant question during the interview is a decision-making factor. Now, let me explain this to you. आप एक इंटरव्यू में जाते हो, you spend good 45 minutes to 1 hour. You have done the interview. Let's say you did a fantastic interview. Okay, आपके हिसाब से सब सही हुआ. You gave good answers, you studied and everything. Now, finally, this will happen. Do you have any questions for me? Is when a hiring manager asks you this question. Correct? Do you have any questions for me? पूछते हैं. What questions you ask them is a major deciding factor if they want to consider you for the role or not. मतलब इंटरव्यू बहुत अच्छा जाने के बाद भी it says 62% of the time if you do not ask good relevant question in the end that can be a deciding factor. मतलब 48% chances ही बचेंगे अगर आप सही सवाल नहीं पूछेंगे at the end. Can anybody tell me what is a good question you can ask a hiring manager in the end after the interview? Anybody? Boy over there, yeah.
Sir, we ask about their perception about the job role, that what they are looking for the candidate for this job.
What they are looking in the candidate for this job. Isn't that not available in the job description already?
No, sir. But what are the qualities they personally see on the candidate looking for?
That is also mentioned in the job description most of the time. Anything else? Anybody else? Yes.
सर इसको ज्वाइन करने से हमारी पर्सनालिटी कॉन्फिडेंस एंड स्किल्स में क्या चेंजेस आ सकते हैं आगे के परफॉर्मेंस के लिए?
Okay, all right, fair enough. But now think about this. ये क्वेश्चन पूछने से आपके एप्लीकेशन में क्या फेवर आ रहा है? Is it favoring your application to hire you? Can you think about it? No? Okay, all right. Anybody else? What am I going to learn? Okay, we are halfway there. What am I going to learn? Okay, but I would say instead of asking what am I going to learn, be excited that I'm excited that I'm going to learn these things. If you're going to ask him कि मैं यहाँ पे क्या सीखूंगा तो आपने जेडी नहीं पढ़ा. We have almost done with the interview and you're asking me now that what am I going to learn? Right? If you are in this job with your own interest, right, you exactly know what you are going to learn already. Right? Anybody else? What can be a good question you can ask a hiring manager at the end of the interview? About their expectations. Yes, there we go. We are close. What are their expectations from me as a candidate? Yes.
About salary.
About salary. Okay. Salary पे आके क्यों रुकती है बात हर बार? Sorry? Confident लगता है. मान लो आपके पास सैलरी है, आपको अच्छे पैसे मिल रहे जॉब में और आप जॉब परफॉर्म भी नहीं कर पा रहे हो. कॉन्फिडेंस. राइट? एनीबडी एल्स? Okay, let me give you one or two examples. A good question could be, again, if I am in this job, what are going to be my priorities for next 6 months? Right? That means to say आप hiring manager के subconscious mind को ये बता रहे हो कि you are imagining yourself in that job, doing that job. अगले 6 महीने में मेरे priorities क्या है? Imagine the impact you will make on the hiring manager's mind. It will show your confidence. It will show that you know you have done good. It will show that you have done your homework. It will show that you are interested in this job and you want to excel in this, and that is why you are asking this exact question. Do you think that's a good question? Do you think that's a good question? Do you think that is a good question? All right. Okay, let me think of, okay, here. When I go for interviews, most of the time, a recruiter gives me with whom I'm going to talk to, right? Interviewer का नाम मुझे मिल जाता है. So what I do is I do a lot of research about them. Where can I find their information? LinkedIn, right? Most of the time managers LinkedIn पे होते हैं. So what I do is I go and search them and identify. उनका trend देखता हूँ कि how long they have been in this company, उनके motivations क्या क्या है. You will find a lot about them, okay? And I can ask this question. I usually make a point to ask this question that, okay, I see that you are in this organization for past 5 years. What has kept you going? I see you that you are in this organization for last 5 years. What are the best things about this organization you can tell me about? Now look at this. This is a two-way street. सिर्फ मैनेजर आपसे सवाल नहीं पूछेगा. You have to be confident to make sure that you are asking him right questions, telling him that it is a two-way street. And you tell him that, I want to know where I'm getting into. That shows a lot of confidence about you. And you are also trying to influence the subconscious mind of a hiring manager saying that, like you, I'm going to be here for at least 5 years. And I want to know that what did you do in this past 5 years that you're still here? I want to exactly do that so that I can be here. Make sense? No hands in the air? Hands in the air, please. Okay. समझ में आ रहा है? Make sense? Okay. Okay. See, look at this one more stat. It says 41% of the hiring managers say that they have changed their mind about candidates based on the interview questions they asked. So somebody said, I want to ask about salary. That will change their mind against you. See, there is no harm in asking a salary, but don't give a feeling to a hiring manager that, आप यहाँ पे salary के लिए हो. Do not ask, ये interview कैसा क्या, इसका feedback क्या है. Give them some time. Let them have their own process. Don't be desperate. Make sense? With me so far? All right. Can we move to the next slide, please? I'll try. Right. So this is the last part I'll cover. Okay, now we were talking about how do we answer an interview question, right? And I told you a little brief about how we have evolved as human beings, and how storytelling is a much better way than giving and throwing some facts. Agree? Story सुनने में अच्छा लगेगा या lecture सुनने में अच्छा लगेगा? Story, right? And that is the same strategy we will use while we are in an interview. Now, let's say somebody asks you a question. Okay. So whenever somebody asks a question, there is something called a STAR technique, S-T-A-R. S stands for situation, T stands for, A stands for, and R stands for, S stands for louder. There you go. All right. So now, and again, try to understand, whenever you are answering a question, set a platform for that. For example, अगर मैं यहाँ पे हूँ और अगर मैं वहाँ खड़े होकर बात करता तो मज़ा आता? You can have all the attention because I am on a stage, I am on a platform. Similarly, it works in your interview answering, right? Whenever you are answering an interview question, set a platform so that they have their attention and focus towards you. Now, how do you do that? Is by starting a story. Have a storyline. For example, like how can you answer every question in a story? Is that your question in your mind? हर question को story में कैसे बताऊँ मैं? Correct. But again, I'm talking about the questions which are situational based. जैसे मान लो if somebody asks you, can you talk to me about a time when you had a strict deadline to achieve? ये सवाल हो सकता है, freshers के टाइम पे से पूछ सकते हैं. Can you tell me about a time when you had a strict deadline to achieve or you had to multitask? ये मान लो सवाल कर दिया. What would you answer? How can you bring that into a story? Okay, let me give an example. जब हम लोग एक स्टोरी बताना शुरू करते हैं, what do we say? Long time ago, बहुत साल पहले एक जंगल हुआ करता था, परिंदे आया करते थे, फिर कोई आया. We started like this. That's how we start a story. Similarly, when you are answering an interview question, set a story. You don't have to say long time ago. You will say, oh, I remember back in 2020, setting a platform. Right? Back in 2020, when I was working in this particular team, अगर आप टीम में नहीं थे, back in 2022, when I was part of a college fest, when I was part of a college event. Now imagine you are setting a platform. The moment you set a platform, the attention is all towards you. With me, everybody? Now, so once you do that, your response should have been backed up with numbers and statistics. So again, hiring managers are not idiots. राइट उनको खुद का दिमाग है, उनके पास एक्सपीरियंस है, एंड दे वांट टू नो दैट आप बस स्टोरी बना रहे हो या कुछ है भी आपके पास. सो इन ऑर्डर टू मेक श्योर दैट यू गिव हिम दैट यू हैव दैट मेटल इन यू, you have to come up with some numbers and statistics. Not all the time, but for example, मान लो आप फेस्ट के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं, there was this one particular problem, and let's say you had to send invitation to at least 50 colleges in and around Indore. That was your task. So situation was the situation was there were no enough invitations sent. The task was to gather a lot of invitations and call so many students and faculties from different universities to my university. Task. What was your action? So now here comes the main thing. आपने इसमें क्या किया? How did you solve the problem? Then you can talk about कि in order to do this, I gathered 4 of my best friends. That means to say, you talk about working in a team, okay? Then I made sure, every time you say I, subconsciously you're telling that you have a leadership quality. Subconsciously you are influencing and saying that I have a leadership quality here. And in this leadership quality, तो मैंने ये किया, this is what I've done. But again, you have to be realistic. इतना भी I मत बोलो, उनको चले कि यार ये खुद का ही चढ़ा रहा है. Don't give them that feeling. Be real. You don't have to lie. If you have not done it, say I was part of the team. Be honest. With me so far? And then, your response should talk about the learnings you have had. मान लो आपने ये फेस्ट में बहुत लोगों को बुलाया, but it still failed. कई लोग नहीं आ पाए. क्यों नहीं आ पाए? Then say, when I sat and reflected back and when I discussed with so many people, I realized that हमारे इसमें ये missing था. Or we were not engaging enough that they could stick with us and they could come back to us. Again, I'm telling you, हर बार hero बनने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. Talk about the failures you have had in your experience and in your life. Don't talk about a breakup with your girlfriend or a boyfriend. That's a very wrong example because I have seen students talking about it. Nobody wants to make it personal. Okay? With me so far? With me so far? With me so far? All right. And finally, your response be in line with the company's values and principles. मतलब जब भी आप मान लो कंपनी के जो मिशन और विजन होता है ना उसके अंदर देयर आर सम स्टेटमेंट्स लाइक वन ऑफ द मिशन ऑफ विजन ऑफ द कंपनी इज दे वर्क इन अ टीम और दे सेलिब्रेट द वर्किंग टुगेदर कल्चर राइट okay so every time when you're giving an answer start giving those hints in your answer ki okay you also are aligned with the company's culture. Now I'm going to do one more thing. Okay, we spoke about introduction, right? First 3 minutes के बारे में हमने बात किया. Okay, and we said कि first 3 minutes में क्या क्या होता है? Greet होता है. I showed you how do you greet. You have to have a good eye contact. You smile. Bring that smile. That brings an aura in the space. When you smile, the other person in front of you is very comfortable. Make them feel comfortable. So that means to say, आपको नया कुछ नहीं करना है. You don't have to invent a new wheel. You just have to do those things which others are not doing. You don't have to, be an inventor. Just beat the existing competition. आपको बस वही करना है and then you get it. With me? Everybody? Now, so we spoke about having a good introduction. Okay, now I want at least 1 or 2 volunteers. Please, anybody. Okay, I'm going to ask a question. Tell me about yourself. Anybody? And don't worry, we are learning here. I have given some pathetic answers myself. Can anybody, answer that question? Please tell me about yourself. जितना भी आता है, 10 सेकंड, 20 सेकंड, जितना भी आता है कीजिए. This will be a great learning. Anybody? Please, anybody? Anybody? That's okay. First year, final year. Yes, we have volunteer here. Round of applause for the girl, please. अगर इंटरव्यू कई सारे के साथ होता ना मैं उसको हायर करता आपको नहीं करता. That means to say you have to exactly do what others are not doing. She did that. It is a classic example. Yes, so I'm going to ask you a question. What is your name?
My name is Devi Chatterjee.
Sorry?
Devi Chatterjee.
Devi Chatterjee. All right. So Devi, can you please introduce yourself? This is an interview question. Okay? Now Devi, please introduce yourself or tell me something about yourself.
So, good morning, sir, and thank you for selecting me for this position.
Okay.
I'm Devi Chatterjee, specifically proper resident from West Bengal, living in Indore for 17 years as a student doing my studies from here.
Okay.
I'm a very creative person from myself, and I love teaching, and I have been teaching students for the past 3 years in a personal level.
Okay.
And I have tried to apply for a position in one of the local coaching, sir, but
Okay.
unable. I have to go audit. I know when I messed up, I was afraid and didn't had eye contact with the recruiter.
Okay.
But
All
I'm
right.
trying to improve in the position where I messed up.
Okay.
I'm trying to overcome from my stage fear as soon as possible. So
Okay.
I'm trying to engage with as many possible opportunities that the college is giving me. And soon I am confident enough I will be over with this fear. And myself in the background of this job description. I'm a very creative person,
Okay.
and I am mostly a leader and also a backup helper, in which if someone struggles, I will help them from the back. But also, when it is needed, I will also lead the team for its success.
Okay.
Even it does successes, I will learn from my mistake and work with the team leaders I have been assigned with.
Okay. All right. Round of applause. All right, so Devi Chatterjee, thank you so much. And yeah, okay, I must say, no, this was a good introduction. But now, you know what? Let's decipher it. Let's break this down. Devi, one thing which I noticed is you told almost all the good things about you. Why? अगर first 3 minutes में आप अपने बारे में सब कुछ बोल दोगे तो आगे क्या करना है? Right? And also remember, my name is Devi Chatterjee. I come from West Bengal. This is what I have studied. Why are you telling me the things which are already there in the CV? क्या मैं पढ़ नहीं सकता? Can I not read your CV? Do you think I'm an idiot? I can read all the information you're telling which is already there in the CV. I'm not saying you ignore that, but there is a way of telling things about yourself in a CV. And again, don't complete everything. अगर आप शुरुआत में सब कुछ बोल दोगे, आपके पास बाद में बोलने के लिए कुछ बचेगा नहीं. इंटरव्यू के फर्स्ट 3 minutes इंपॉर्टेंट है. उसके बाद आपके पास अभी भी 47 minutes है to cover rest of the things, right? 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 With me, everybody? Yes, all right. So now, do you want me to introduce? Okay, but I will introduce based on my experience. Is that okay? Okay. So let's say I'm applying for a recruitment manager role. A global recruitment manager role के लिए मैंने apply किया है. And you know, Nikita is a recruiter and she asked me, Vishal, can you please introduce yourself? Okay. See, मेरा background ये है. मैं ना एक real estate firm से आया हूँ, monthly developer से. ओके उसके बाद मैंने IBM में काम किया और उसके बाद मैं स्टेट स्ट्रीट में हूँ. ठीक है. नाउ this is how I start. Okay, I'll say thank you so much. As you can see in my CV, I'm not telling my name. My name is already there. He knows that. He has called me for the interview. सब कुछ हो गया है. Okay, as you can see in my CV, I started my career with a real estate firm. Monthly Developers is not a big brand. तो मैं उसके बारे में नहीं बता रहा हूँ. I'm not taking the name. But my second job, IBM, is a big brand. So I'll say I started my career as a part of real estate firm and I was part of HR operations there. Then I moved to IBM. Okay, I am making an impact in their mind. बड़े brand में इसने काम किया है. And then I moved to IBM and I spent close to 2 years and I did little recruitment and you know scheduling and global mobility वगैरह मैंने काम किया है. This is what I tell them. And then I will say, look at this impactful statement. And past 9 years I have been in State Street. And this particular job has changed me from a person doing a job to being a professional. Past 9 years being in State Street has changed me from a person doing a job to being a professional. Look at this impactful statement. So that means to say you are saying, you know what, I'm a professional, you can't play with me. I'm a professional, I know it. And you are saying that this professionalism has come from my 9 years of experience, 2 years before that in IBM. And 2 years before that in real estate. So I am picking those words which are going to make a subconscious impact on the interviewer's mind. ठीक है? Now, so I have told about my career history. Now I am going to not tell कि मैंने काम क्या किया है. That is already there in the CV. But I will tell them what is my principal value or what are my core values. Now, this is how I go. I'll say, well, you know, whenever I perform a job, I ask 4 questions to myself. Number 1, have I kept myself in the client's shoes to understand his problem? That means to say I'm telling कि मैं client oriented हूँ. That's what every company requires. With me? The second question, and then the second question I ask myself is, have I done everything in my capacity? मतलब कोई problem solve करने के लिए मैंने अपना सब कुछ किया है. After that, am I seeking help? या फिर मैं आते ही problem है मुझे बताइए क्या करना है. So you're talking about your principal value. The third thing I tell is, I constantly ask this question to myself, is there a better way of doing this job? Okay, I constantly ask myself, is there a better way of doing this job? That means to say the third principal value I'm telling, you know, I do everything in my capacity and, you know, I'm very innovative. I try to think from all the angles. This is what I do. And finally, finally I say no, I'll just make sure that everything is as per the policy. मुझे company के policies को bypass भी करना नहीं है. Correct? So that means to say you are telling your core values in form of your way of working. You are not telling exactly what you have done. You have enough time to discuss exactly what you have done in the next 50 minutes. शुरुआत में give them the core value. The moment you give your core values, again, don't make them up. You have to believe in them. It's only then you tell them. And when you tell your core values, you will believe it or not, all the conversations, all the questions a hiring manager is asking you are exactly based on these core values you have given them. मतलब आपने उसको क्वेश्चन पेपर दिया है, ये सवाल पूछो, इसके जवाब मेरे पास है. Make sense? Everybody? Right. So that's what you do. And uske baad, and I'm so excited to tell you that my personal values are very in line with your organization's mission and vision. उसको ये भी बताओ कि मैं पर्सनली आपके कंपनी के मिशन विजन से बहुत इम्प्रेस्ड हूँ, एंड आई एम सो एक्साइटेड दैट दिस कॉम्बिनेशन इज गोइंग टू बी वेरी नाइस. सो यू गिव हिम दैट फीलिंग. Finally, give a personal touch. Well, look, I'm 37 years old, daughter of a beautiful daughter. I love to spend time. Okay, I'm a writer, I'm an author. Again, whenever you're telling about your hobbies, okay, please make sure that you don't tell you should tell hobbies, because it is, see, something about hobby. Do you think hobbies are important? Hobbies are important? Yes, okay. But ऑनेस्टली पूछो तो अगर somebody asks me hobbies important है, बोले हाँ ठीक है, CV के कॉर्नर में हम लोग उसको डाल देते हैं. This is how it happens usually. It happens with me also, right? But again, hobbies is something which tells a lot about you before they talk to you. Hobbies कहाँ पे होता है? आपके CV में होता है. CV कहाँ होता है? Before somebody talks to you, they have to shortlist and talk to your CV. Your CV has to be as beautiful as your face. Sometimes even beautiful. Okay, so hobbies को ignore मत करना. And when you're talking about your hobbies, see if you can talk your hobbies are in line with your career progression or that particular job you're applying for. जैसे, like yesterday, last Saturday, I was interviewing few candidates from one of the universities, and she said, my hobbies are, I love to do coding on my free time. She's applying for a data scientist role. She loves to do coding on her free time. It is so aligned with where she wants to go. She has integrated her personal interest to her professional interest. Look at the impact she's making on my mind when I'm interviewing her. Yeah? All right. And finally, I will say this is what it is, and that's how I end my introduction. Do you think this introduction was better? Yes, it was better because I did not read from the CV. I made those points which are going to make impact on his mind. I told that I'm aligned with your culture. I'm told that align with your mission and vision, okay? And I gave him exactly what he wants to listen. मैंने उसको question paper दिया है. Ask me these questions, I'm going to answer questions to you. With me so far, everybody? All right. Okay, so now I'm going to do a barter system. मुझे कुछ फायदा तो चाहिए ना यहाँ पे आने से. मैडम कुछ तो बनता है मेरा, right? कुछ तो चाहिए मुझे. ओके, नाउ आई हैव गॉट अ गिफ्ट फॉर ऑल ऑफ यू. गिफ्ट्स पसंद है? पसंद है सबको? पक्का. सो आई हैव, मेरा जो ई बुक है विच इज़ अवेलेबल ऑन अमेजॉन. डू यू वांट दैट ई बुक? फ्री में चाहिए? नहीं चाहिए? व्हाई? यस? ऑलराइट. अच्छा, so and you know what, see, one more thing I'm trying to do is I'm trying to say this is my passion, right? And I want to influence, I want to help as many students as I can. इसका बेस्ट वे क्या हो सकता है? हाउ कैन आई हेल्प पीपल? सोशल मीडिया. सब लोग यूट्यूब देखते हैं, फेसबुक, इंस्टाग्राम, लिंक्डइन. लिंक्डइन, एवरीबडी हैज अ लिंक्डइन? सबके पास नहीं है. ओके, बट इट्स गुड. इफ यू डोंट हैव इट, you should have it. Okay? Now, so what I want you guys to do is, today morning, I just opened a YouTube channel and I thought, I will try to send a lot of information like this about answering interview questions, about, answering the toughest interview questions, how do you prepare, CV, ATS, application process and everything. Can I request you guys to follow me or subscribe me and I'll give you the ebook? Can you take your phones out? Sorry, I'm selling it, but yeah, can you please take your phones out, everybody? Okay, search for Vishal Chinchure, Vishal Inchure. Yeah, that's here, Vishal. Vishal Chinchure, okay? Just search that and if you can subscribe. So once we do this, ma'am, in fact, I'm going to give you, I'll send you 2 books, both the e-books I'll send you. One is Lesser Known Interview Secrets. You can find this on Amazon anyways. Plus this e-book, The Art of Crafting a CV. Whatever we discussed about ATS, whatever we discussed about, how does a Boolean string work and everything, this is part of this book, okay? So I'm going to send this to your madam here, Shalini Mathurji. I'll send it to you. And if you can please send it to as many students as you can. Okay? Everybody with me? All right, so you know what? Okay, we are almost there. I'll just take 5 minutes to answer some questions. Now, you know what? Ask me some toughest questions you can ask. Yeah, if you can use the mic. I'll come up with your AI questions also, okay? Yeah.
What are the biggest misconception of fresher candidates?
Biggest misconception of a fresher candidate. Okay, all right, I think you know what, let me answer this to you. Instead of saying it misconception, let's say what are some poor expectations of any candidate. So today when I was talking to all of you guys, I just realized, we're talking about money, salary, paisa, right? But nobody talks about ki aage kya hoga. I mean, nobody talks about what am I going to learn. So one of the misconception is, or one of the problems I see with fresher is, we all are very short-sighted. Very short-sighted. When I ask you, how do you see your future? You will tell me कि exactly 5 साल में आपको क्या करना है. Maximum 10 साल, 15 साल सर फुट गया. उसके आगे कोई भी बात नहीं करता है. When somebody asks me this question, I'll tell them how I want to retire, not what I'm going to do in next 5 years. So if you are thinking about your career, think how you want to retire. Imagine yourself doing a good job. Yeah? You also asked a question about AI. Okay, let me just cover something about it. Are you guys afraid about AI? Artificial intelligence? चैट जीपीटी ने ईमेल बनाया, सीवी बनाया, एक सेकंड में कीवर्ड निकाला, मतलब रिक्रूटर का काम उसने सब कुछ ऑलरेडी कर दिया है, राइट? Okay, remember this. Something about AI is AI scary? It is scary, but it is scary for whom is the question, right? Now, if you think artificial, you can sit down, thank you. So if you think artificial intelligence is going to take away my job, or is it going to make my job very, very hard, या फिर जो भी मैं सीख रहा हूँ, इसका शायद job available हो भी या ना हो, is that your worry? Yeah? So let me tell you one thing, okay? Artificial intelligence is not going to take away your job, but somebody who knows how to leverage and use artificial intelligence is definitely going to eat up your job. Somebody who knows how to use artificial intelligence is going to take away your job, not artificial intelligence itself. Now that means to say, start equipping yourself. Okay? Start learning those skills which are required. With me? All right, so with that, do we have any question? One more question I can take. All right, I think with that, you guys have been a wonderful audience. Thank you for lovely energy. Yeah, round of applause for yourself. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Somebody just asked me way back out of this door, जब लाइट नहीं थी उस समय, मैम आपका हेलो हमें याद है तो आप एक बार हमें हेलो कह सकते हैं. पहले तो मैं सोच रही थी कि बाद में फिर कभी, but then it's just not about hello. I also want to congratulate Mr. Vishal, and please do not misinterpret that I'm congratulating you on writing those 2 books. I'm not. Remember the story you have told at the beginning wherein you have failed twice? Thrice. So, इससे पहले कि आप लोगों को ऐसी कोई गलतफहमी हो कि मैं उनको फेल होने के लिए congratulate कर रही हूँ, let me clarify, I'm congratulating you for failing 3 examinations that the life took, but passing the examination of the life to be here on stage. Thank you so much.
So guys, this was illustrious Mr. Vishal. Please give a huge round of applause. We extend our heartfelt gratitude for your enlightening speech that seamlessly blended profound motivation with an expertly woven tapestry of tips and tricks. Your words have not only ignited the souls and spirits, but also equipped us with invaluable insights to navigate our path towards success.
आपकी तारीफ करने के लिए मेरे पास अल्फाज तो बहुत कम हैं, लेकिन फिर भी मैं कुछ कहना चाहूँगा। आपकी बातों में है खजाना ये खास, आपकी बातों में है ये खजाना कुछ खास, आपकी कद्र हम करते हैं, आप हैं हमारी आस। आपके वक्त की कीमत है बहुत अनमोल, आपके वक्त की कीमत है बहुत अनमोल, करते हैं आपको दिल से शुक्रिया। आपकी बातों से रोशनी बस यूं ही बिखरती रहे चारों ओर। थैंक यू सो मच सर।
Now, I would like to request our beloved faculty, Mrs. Jyoti Jaiswal ma'am, to honor our chief guest with our IPSA's exceptional memento. Now, for summing up and vote of thanks, ma'am, please. The dice is all yours.
And our HOD ma'am, Dr. Shalini Mathur, and my dear colleagues and the E department, and the other faculty members, Tapti ma'am, Meenakshi ma'am, Yogita ma'am, all of you, and my dear students who makes this program so successful, and my dear hosts, Zaina and the Nakshatra. Thank you all for your presence and taking this knowledge. And the guest at last, Mr. Vishal, he imparted so much nice knowledge among the students and the latest one. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
All right, signing off. Thank you, everyone.